Evolving with psilocybin. It's been a minute since I spoke on psilocybin. I wonder if you all out there, when we're talking about the usage of psilocybin, via the shrooms, consuming this food, if you think we just wilding out every single moment on shrooms, well, is that the case? Through the pandemic, that's when I really got into growing my own food. Starting with the medicine, shrooms, and then expanding from there. So why did I think about getting into growing shrooms? Because first of all, I know the dosages and the frequent journeys that I wanted to take. That was going to be really expensive. And on top of that, you start getting to a level where you have to be, not even you have to be, but you should always be particular of who you're sourcing your food from. And when I'm talking about food, I'm talking about anything that we consume, I'm talking about your regular fruit, veg, your shrooms, your herbs, your marijuana. I'm talking about all that. Yeah, you should be particular on who you're buying these things from, because it's all an energetic transference. You know what I'm saying? If you're here going and buying this sacred medicine or food from some shady character, you know what I mean? That's like always up to no good, or whatever the case, mistreats his woman, and now you're taking that food in you, that's gonna affect the type of experience that you have. This is just really holistic heights. So yeah, I wanted to be in control, more in control of the food that I was taking. So it made sense to grow my own. I'm all for one of exploring, experiencing everything for self. And wow, where did I go from there? I think like anyone else. Well, who gives a shit about anyone else? When I started growing shrooms, I was going in every other week. Journeys, deep journeys. Not talking about microdosing, deep journeys, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 grams, you know what I mean? Going in. And at that particular time, that's exactly where I wanted to be with it. It was perfect. I don't know, I did that for well over a year. Year and a half or whatnot. So imagine just having these things on tap because you are the grower. Having these things on tap to go in as many times and as often as you want. That is the epitome of psilocybin exploration. So while heads were going wild in the pandemic because they locked down, I'm very happy to be locked down because I'm off in other realms. So it's cool. But what happened? With all those journeys, you know what I mean? And this goes without saying as well that I never relied on shrooms, on psychedelic therapies and stuff like that to heal me on whatever I was going through, mental, physical, or spiritual. I never relied on that. I know that it's always a combination of the works. So even though we're here talking about psilocybin, shrooms, there's other foundational works that are done that people don't see. I'm talking about observing my thoughts that become my actions, you know, eating a particular way, adhering to particular principles. Do you know what I mean? Having certain disciplines. Yeah, these are all things that happen, and all things that I've been heavily invested in, you know, for like the last 20 years. So I never was reliant on shrooms. It's more towards just like exploration, really, just having fun. And just wanting to experience something else out of this dimension, out of this, you know, twisted society that we live in. But within taking those journeys, like now, it's been about, I don't know, it's been about maybe 5-6 months since I've taken any shrooms, any dosage of any kind. These things are not addictive. That's another thing as well. They're not. So do I have access to them? Yeah, of course I got access to them. But I just don't feel like taking them. I'm more into, let me not say what I'm more into, but it's like going through shrooms and like starting to grow them yourself, be in this process. Invested in the process of, you know, bringing forth this fungi, helping to give birth to nature. It just took me deeper into it, just studying mycelium, understanding different connections, you know, branching off from shrooms, and having to understand that mycelium, like, is the foundational groundwork for nature, period. All forest life is built off of that. You know, I guess from there, it led me into expanding on the food growing, you know, fruit, veg, all these different type of things. But like, just to know that, yes, is it illegal? Yes, it's illegal. It's illegal in certain countries, you know, usage of psilocybin. But I think a lot of things that I do, a lot of my passions, a lot of things that I'm just drawn to, you know, are legal. Yes, it's unfair. There's no such thing as equal, not in this world that we live in. It masquerades as freedom, equality, and all that, but it's not. So yeah, stuff that I have full joy, whether I'm talking about shrooms or marijuana, they're illegal where I'm at. You know, these things that really heal people on many different levels. But then we have some like alcohol that's responsible for numerous amount of deaths and accidents, you know, daily. It's perfectly legal, you know, and given to you on a regular, and used to sell everything. It's a twisted world we live in. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Am I gonna stop doing these particular things because they're illegal? No. Fuck it. It's my food. This is the life I live in. That's the choice. That's the choice that I've made. And I'm fine with whatever consequences come with that. But back onto the Mycelium Journey. Yeah, just going deeper into the growing of things and like understanding how these things are formed. Like, you know, what are spores? What is a mushroom actually? Right? And then coming to know like mushrooms, the mushroom isn't what we think it is at all. The mushroom is the dying fruit body of this mycelium organism, right? So it's the dying fruit body. So when we're saying, oh yeah, that's mushroom, that's just a sign that's letting you know that this particular mycelium is coming to its end of its particular life cycle, until it drops spores and it starts again. But study mycelium. So it went into just attempting to get into deep other realms and experiencing other things, you know, the visuals and all that, to really being here present within nature and wanting to understand and facilitate more nature. So hence you see all the posts of the videos and allotment. You know, that also comes out of these journeys. Growing. When you're literally growing and you're invested in growing something, bringing something to life, bringing something to nature, you are also growing within yourself. It's an evolution in yourself, in your character. So, going into these spores, seeing what they are, ordering the vials, the spore syringes offline. You can order them offline, you know what I mean, get them sent to you. That's not illegal. I guess it's just when the actual shrooms start to grow, that's when they classify it as illegal. But seeing something from that process in a syringe and then putting that to agar, you know, expanding that, or creating your own liquid mycelium, your own LM, your own culture, expanding that, and then putting it on a substrate. Whether you're going by BRF cakes or you're going grain, put it on there and watching the mycelium colonize and take over. And it's deep that they use that word. You know, mycelium. What color is mycelium? Mycelium is white, pure white, you know. And in mycology, the word that they use when this pure white organism takes over the other substrate is colonize. And that's part of the process. It has to colonize. So I just think that's deep. But this connection, mycelium, and I was just watching another program, and I think it's called Mycelium or Mycelium, not really sure, but it's something very close to mycelium, maybe mycelium. But it's a part of the brain. They were talking about the teenage brain and like how do we really know, you know what I mean, if a teenager is able to process or what do we call an adult? When are they able to respond mentally as an adult? Is there something that happens in the brain, an actual switch? Because around the world we have these different laws, right? For when this person is considered an adult. Oh, you could vote at this particular age. Somewhere over here it'll be 25, somewhere over here it'll be 18. Another part of the world it'd be a different thing. So, but they were really just talking about the studies of the brain. And it was real fascinating. It's a show on Netflix. It's called How the Mind Works, or something like that, How the Mind Works. And it was episode 2 or 3. I think it said teenagers. But long story short, it's now been proven that there is a particular switch that happens in the brain. Certain things fire differently at particular ages. But what we're calling adult, and when that person is mentally within their brain, an adult, is more around the age of 25. And it starts by something at the back of the brain, and this thing at the back of the brain just really starts to take over again, colonize. I think it's mycelium. It starts to colonize, and it keeps on going and colonizing and keeps on going until it gets to the frontal cortex. And that colonization stops around the age of 25. So yeah, just finding out those connections between mycelium, you know, the growth and the interconnectedness of everything, of all forest life, nature life, and everything, and the same thing that happens within the brain, the literal colonization. I just find these things very, very fascinating. So, leading into growing more food, you know, getting an allotment, and taking control of one's health, food. Not complete control, because not eating 100% from there, but, you know, everything's steps towards that, right? But like that even just shows me like the evolution of myself and what I think or how I feel about the food that I'm consuming. At one time I was very obsessive with chasing down particular labels and maintaining labels when it comes to food and using food as an identity. And then going through that completely and coming out of that on the other side and getting into growing your own food, there's so much peace that I find in that. It's like a meditation. And I'm directly responsible for the food that I'm growing that's going to give me particular energy. You know what I mean? I'm hands-on with that. It really, there's really a deep love connection there. Joy, happiness, all those things come out of that. And just the fascination of plants. And how much like them, or how much similarities we have. Now, all of these things could have been coming out from a journey, like, you know, did so many journeys back to back, probably made some new connections within the brain, right? So that's what mycelium is. Mycelium connects. So maybe that happened. People normally ask about, from one journey to the next, like, what have you learned? What have you pulled out? It's not always about that. Like, processing. Sometimes the processing is just ongoing. Sometimes you don't know why you come to a particular perspective, or you just come out of a journey and that perspective has changed. Or you may not realize that in that particular moment, but something did switch. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I don't have the equipment to test anything as well. But I just know that I have changed. I really place more value on the simple things within life. Even when it comes to teaching yoga, coaching, dealing with holistic health and fitness. It it is a double-edged sword, because as much as we need to make a living here, to live here, there's just a lot of things that I don't want to do anymore. I don't like the approach of it and what it has become. I don't like feeling pressured to have to post something or to sell a service just to bring income in. I don't like that. But I know I'm very talented in and gifted in the works that I do. So it's like really trying to manage those things. Before, it wasn't something that I even thought about. It was just, yep, get on with it. Gotta bring in the money. Gotta bring in more money. Gotta bring in more money. It was just, yep, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what we have to do here. But now it's not about that. I will easily turn someone away with working with them if I just feel something's out of place with, it's just not the right connection. I'm not just accepting everything because there's monetary value attached to it. I'm really disconnecting from the ways of society and just more in line with my own beat, really marching to the rhythm of my own drum, Even just how I set things up. I go ahead and take care of my sessions, and it's a few sessions. Long gone are the days that I'll be jumping around from the yoga studio and people's houses and 7 different spots working at, nah. You get 2 to 3 sessions in the rising, one after the other, and then that's it. It's my time. I'm really focused on my energy and the very few relationships that I hold valuable, So like right now, finished doing 2 sessions and just taking a nice long walk to the allotment. And this is really my day. But all in all, this video was just a psilocybin update for you. If you wanted to know if I'm still on shrooms or what I've gained from that, I've gained everything that I've told you in this video. If you're able to pull out some gems. But yeah, I'm in love with being. I'm in love with investing time with myself. I'm in love with investing time with loved ones. And anything else, I don't care for. Okay. Righteous grip.
Namaste, it's all about you, and not about it, the divinity in you. Namaste, it's all about you, and not about it, the divinity in you. Namaste, it's all about you, and not about it, the divinity in you. Namaste, it's all about you.